Assalamu Alaikum and welcome to the Muslim Gamers Podcast, the official podcast of the largest Discord server for Muslim gamers. My name is Faraj and joining me today are Laughing Man, Nael, and Abdul. Assalamu Alaikum, everyone.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikum assalam.
Just a quick
Walaikum
note
salam.
to our, I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but a quick note to our viewers and listeners, if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube and your podcast platform of choice, as it'll really help us out. And if you haven't joined the Discord server, go ahead and do that too. There's some cool stuff in there waiting for you. Just like we mentioned in the last episode, we wanted at least take a quick moment to acknowledge, the suffering of the people in Palestine and Gaza, and this also goes for people suffering anywhere else, Yemen, the Congo, and Kashmir, wherever
Sudan.
people are suffering, and Sudan, wherever people are suffering. Let's continue to keep them in our du'as. May Allah grant them victory and justice.
Ameen.
So, Assalamu Alaikum once again to my beloved, wonderful co-host. How are y'all doing today
Alhamdulillah.
on this November 6th of
Absolutely.
November?
I absolutely hate daylight savings time with a passion. It's the worst thing.
This is
Autumn is my favorite season. I love it. I'm a night owl. I prefer the night. I'm chilling.
So you're like, I don't care. The sun can go down. I'll be chilling.
I, know, I like the sun, but I'm glad it goes down sooner.
I used to be like you, Laughing Man, but after having
you
Took an arrow to the knee.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
the kids were the arrow all along.
Yeah, no, it's when you take the whole quiver to the knee. Yeah, with kids, they it's easier to put them down, but they're up a lot earlier now.
It's funny
yeah.
you use the word quiver because
daughter-
in a verse of the Old Testament they say quiver full of arrows, and a certain sect of evangelical Christians use that to mean children. So just a little fun little tidbit.
Oh,
Interesting.
my daughter got up at 4:40 a.m. the other day.
Oh man,
My God.
Lovely.
She woke you up for Fajr. What? I don't see the
Dude,
problem.
it's Tahajjud. There wasn't even Fajr time.
Fajr's technically 5:05 a.m. Okay, he needs those 25 minutes, and plus the grace period after his Fajr time, you still have the time until sunrise to pray.
No, she was like, not Tahajjud time, Baba. Like, let's go.
I still don't see the problem. Win-win. Good daughter. She's already on the.
But she's probably asleep by like 6 nowadays.
Okay, Mr. Nael, I like to see you get up at 4:40 a.m.
Jokes on you.
I know you don't sleep.
I sleep 2 to 3 hour. I take 2 to 3 hour naps throughout the day.
Yeah, it's not
I
healthy.
don't actually sleep.
Man.
I've been doing this since I was 12. So.
Still not healthy.
Anyway, speaking of things that are not healthy, actually no,
Video
these are
games.
actually pretty helpful for us and healthy for us.
No, video games are quite healthy in moderation, or moderation differs from person to person. But yeah,
Big
That's true.
topic idea.
Yeah. Oh, hey, that's a good idea. How much is
Healthy
too much?
gaming?
Yeah,
Healthy
healthy gaming too. Yeah. I've been getting into quite a bit of that myself, which we'll get into in our second, where we're talking about the games that we're playing. Usually, I've started with either Laughing Man or Abdul, but today I want to start with Nael. Tell me what you've been playing.
Yeah, I was out visiting my nieces and nephew last week, so I didn't really get to play very many games of my choosing, but that was okay because we had a lot of fun playing Mario Kart and Mario Party, Smash, the classics.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Good stuff. I know a bunch of new Mario Party games came out too. Oh, no, we were talking about the Mario Party games last time.
Yeah, there is a new one that
Yeah, new one's out.
just came out.
Yeah,
Yes,
just came out.
this week, last week, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Was that the one you were playing?
No. I
Okay,
was
it's the older
playing the 8 Ultimate something, whatever the first one that came out for the Switch.
For the Switch. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Cool. You guys mind if I go next?
Please.
All right.
Okay. All right. So
Sound excited?
So games I've been, I am excited because I ended up because I was for our last episode we had Syed Qutuz or Asadin Jalut on, and he had told me like off the recording that he doesn't. If I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, I'm sure he doesn't. But he did mention it in the episode as well that he doesn't buy games anymore. So I wanted to follow that same philosophy too, because
Just trying to work down his pile of shame.
Pile of shame, exactly. Yeah. So
His shame
I
of
finally
pile.
got the other URL for the pile of shame to work for my Steam ID, and it actually showed me like the value of the games that I haven't played, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it makes sense for me to just go through that. Why do I need to keep buying more? Especially the older I get with kids and everything, it's like the money could be put to better use than to keep spending money on games that I'm not going to play. So with that being said, I also still went out and bought a new VR headset.
Nice.
Just just a
Which
$500.
which brand?
Yeah, no,
Which
actually, this
brand?
one. So this is it's technically not new. It's old. It's the Oculus Rift S.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I love sim racing, and sim racing in VR feels absolutely unreal. It's amazing. And my normal headset is a Meta Quest 2, and I have the link cable and everything for it. But for some reason, this past weekend on Saturday, it just wasn't working, and it can also be a struggle to like get that thing turned on and then make sure that it recognizes the computer and then start the Quest link and then make sure that everything's working there, the settings are dialed in. All the videos only being, and the motion, the controls, everything is only being transferred through a USB-C connection, so there's only one point of transfer, which can sometimes muddle the quality depending on how good the bandwidth is, or if like CPU, like whatever, like PC
The
stuff.
throughput, yeah, gets
Exactly.
to
Yeah, so it's not the best experience to have the link, but I like having the Quest 2 as well for standalone VR stuff. But when I was trying it for sim racing on Saturday, it just was not working. My cable was having some sort of an issue. I narrowed it down to the cable, and I'm like, I'm tired of this. Let me. I used to have a dedicated PC VR headset, but it was the original Rift that came with the little sensors. And I know the Rift S is all inside out tracking. It doesn't need any sensors. You just need the headset and the controllers and a PC, and that's it. So I went on Facebook Marketplace, found a guy that was close enough, and bought it the next day. But
Nice.
yeah, the plug and play experience of VR and that is great. I've been, thanks to a very generous friend of mine, been playing Automobilista 2. Wink, wink. Uh, yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
it's such a, yeah, thank you, Abdul. It's been such a great experience
Well,
playing this game. It's one of the best. Like, we were talking about it in the Muslim Gamers Discord and the Brothers chat, about this game, and I was kind of downplaying it until I actually got to try out the demo, and I'm like, wow, okay, this is actually pretty great. So once I started playing the actual game and in VR, it's like last night I was playing a 30-minute race in completely in VR with headset on and everything. My sim racing setup is in the garage, and we actually had people over that had parked their car in our garage while our car was parked outside. Um, I didn't realize that they were leaving because they were friends of my wife. I didn't realize that they were leaving until like in the middle of my race. I started feeling much colder. Then I realized, oh, the garage door is open. So I took the headset off
wow.
and set it onto them. But yeah, it's loving it, loving Automobilista 2. I can't believe I slept on it for so long. The only thing about it is, like, for anyone that's into racing games, it doesn't have like all the racetracks that we're used to, like Monza or Laguna Seca, and those are all included, or you'd have to purchase them separately as DLC, which it's not too bad. You can kind of pick and choose, or if you want to spend $150-ish and get all the DLC, that's an option too. But there's still quite a lot of content for the game, and it's only $40. So much
Hmm.
content.
I wish Steam would allow you to like buy the whole thing and then gift it to somebody because you can't do that.
Were you about to do that?
Listen, I'm not gonna answer that question. I'm just
Oh,
just
no.
telling you.
Okay.
Steam does
I'm
like Steam.
I'm
So if you like put all of the DLC and everything in your cart, you can't gift it to somebody. You can only do it at your own account. So you can only like buy like the
you
base
can't
game.
gift DLC. Dang, that's annoying.
Yeah,
that
you
is
can't
annoying. Yeah,
gift DLC
Hmm.
to anybody. It's I thought that was interesting.
Wait,
yeah.
is that true?
Anyways,
I've never
I
tested that.
Yeah, I've never
I
tried.
tried and it didn't work.
Did
I
Hmm.
they
have
already
tried
own
in
the
the
game?
past.
I
Do they
think, is
own the
it
No,
because you
game?
have
The
to
base?
own the game, or
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know if it works if they already own the game.
It
I've
might
only
work
ever
if they
tried
own the
it.
base game.
Mm.
oh, I wonder maybe if that's
No,
why.
but
Because
because it
I
doesn't give you an op when you go into Steam and you put in a DLC in your cart, it doesn't give
Okay.
you an option of like this is a gift. That option just does not
interesting.
exist. It only ever
I'm
says
gonna
this is
Yeah,
free.
because you don't put the person in until you like select like, oh, I want this as a gift, and then you put the
All right,
person in.
Yeah.
I'm literally gonna check right now.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be good to check. But at the same time, I'm glad you didn't do that because there's so much content in the base game as it is. So that was really thoughtful of you.
Listen,
Thank you.
Okay,
not
so
answering
all
that
I'm
one. Yeah.
hearing for everyone listening, all I'm hearing is if you ever get pissed at Faraj, what you got to do is increase his pile of shame.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's
If he says, "Oh, yeah, that game is stupid. I don't want to play it. I'm never buying it." Oh, you buy that. You buy that for him when it's on sale. He's gonna play it.
yeah. I'm never gonna play, or I never want to buy Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I absolutely don't want to buy it.
And now he's doing reverse psychology because he wants to play.
Oh, was it that
Star
obvious?
Wars Jedi
Wait, isn't it on my
Survivor.
Steam?
I think
No, it's
EA
not.
games can't be family shared.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, but
Okay,
anyways, yeah.
I just checked. You can gift DLC. I just clicked on a random DLC,
really?
Final Fantasy 16 DLC. I clicked under the options. For my account private. This is a gift. I can pick. This is a gift.
Maybe it's that DLC specifically.
It's
I
an
don't know.
entire
I'll double
It could
check.
be.
yeah. There's a
Yeah.
lot of DLC in there. It's
Yeah,
okay.
and I
I've
can-
already
I mean, yeah, because I've done it for other games before, where I
Okay.
like try to give DLC and it hasn't worked. So I don't know.
That's
I'll
Yeah,
double
I
check.
literally just clicked a random person on my friends list. Yeah, it could be just
Huh.
for that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Imagine sending him like the most expensive DLC for a game that he doesn't even own, so he's forced to buy the game to play the DLC.
Right.
That'd be
Yeah,
funny.
nice.
But yeah, I've been
All right,
having a lot
what
of
else
fun
you been
with.
playing?
So
Wait, like
I also
before you quit, before you switch on that, I know, how, because I don't have a VR headset. Like, what do you like? What's the fatigue level like? How long can you play before you're like, okay, I can't play a VR?
so for me, I have a higher tolerance because I've been doing VR since 2019. When I first tried it in 2019, uh, there's different things you have to be mindful of as far as like the way your eyes are set up in there and how good the focus is for you in the game. So if you wear glasses IRL, you have to have some sort of prescription set up in VR as well. Which thankfully for the Rift S, there's enough space in there where I can wear glasses comfortably and have the headset on my face. For the other headsets I've used, I actually got prescription lens inserts for them. So and that's also very important because if it's less focused, it's kind of not tricking your brain into thinking that it's okay, and you can tend to get motion sick pretty easily. Different people have different tolerances. I know that I have a higher tolerance, except for a game where if I'm standing still and I'm walking, like I got to try out Boneworks, which most VR games that have a teleport option, which helps with that motion sickness, but Boneworks doesn't because it's like something to do with the physics and the story. I still haven't gotten far enough, but I could feel myself getting sick as I was trying to move. They even had this like VR mod for Doom 3 that came out back in the day, like 2005, which played really well, but my movement was set so fast that after about 20 or 30 minutes of playing, I had to lie down. I couldn't even look at a screen. It was that bad. If it depends on the game, it depends on the way the controller is set up, and it also differs from person to person too. So when it's like flying or racing, I feel like VR is perfect for that because you're seated already as it is if you're doing something like that in real life. So yeah, I downloaded a bunch of VR VR enabled games like Star Wars Squadrons. Can't wait to try it out with that. I haven't had a chance to try it out yet. Flying in an X-wing with VR, like that's the dream.
I
Right
heard
there.
that's the best way to play the game.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. Flying games, I've noticed you actually are better in VR because you're able to track your target as you're flying around. Um so yeah. But anyways, that's enough about VR. Since Red Dead Redemption, a 14-year-old game, has finally come out on PC, I did get a chance to try that out as well. I didn't buy it, but I did try it. I got to try it on my PC with mouse and keyboard controls. Plays beautifully. Like my PC can handle, like it can barely push Red Dead Redemption 2 to 60 frames per second. So with Red Dead 1 or Redemption 1, it was very comfortable with it in Ultra. But I actually prefer playing it on the Steam Deck because of being able to like put the console to sleep. And I feel like the game was built. I mean, the game was built with the controller
With
in mind, so
console,
it
yeah.
doesn't play that well. Or for me, I didn't have a great time playing it with mouse and keyboard.
It's a little
Um,
clunkier.
yeah, it's a little bit clunkier, especially because for your horse to gallop, it's mapped to the shift button by default. So
So
in
you're
order
just
to
like
get your horse to get
holding it
yeah,
down.
not holding it down, tapping it.
Oh,
So you're
tapping.
tapping your
Yeah.
pinky. Yeah.
Mm.
I got to give my pinky a pretty good workout with that game.
Pinky
So,
fatigue.
but it does look and play really well on the Steam Deck. I have it set to like somewhere between low to medium settings because I care more about battery life than the visuals and it looks really good on a small screen too. Plays at 60 frames per second, controls really well with the controls, and yeah, I'm loving it. And lastly, a little bit of a Black Ops 6 multiplayer. I know that recently came out as well. And a lot of people have been playing it. Um, I'm not the best at it, I'll be honest, but it's been a lot of fun.
I'm tired of
Nice.
carrying you, bro. Okay, good.
I know, yeah, you have been, yeah. Abdullah is actually pretty good. Guys, watch out for him. Okay, why don't you tell me a little bit of what you've been playing, Abdul?
Oh man.
In addition to possibly Black Ops.
Yeah, COD multiplayer here and there. It's super fun. I haven't played a COD game in a long time. I think the last one I played was Black
Didn't
Ops.
you get Modern Warfare 3, which was literally the
I
last
did get
one?
Modern Warfare 3. No, was that the last one?
That was the last
There
one.
was one.
The one before
No.
that was Modern Warfare 2. And then before
Yeah,
that
I did
was
get 3,
Vanguard.
but I played it for like a little bit, and then I just like, no, this is not fun. So then I had to refunded it. And then so this is the first Black Ops where I'm actually like Modern Warfare game that I'm actually having fun in, COD game, and actually liking the multiplayer. I really like the changes they made, lower time to kill, and just like being able to play the game and not die immediately to like crazy antics has been nice. I don't know, getting older.
Yeah. What else?
And then what else have you been playing? I have been playing a lot of Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Oof.
Now, before you get into Veilguard, remind me again, which one of us was the one that was very skeptical about Veilguard when we were talking about when the game was announced?
I was.
Yeah.
Listen, I didn't say I wasn't gonna get the game.
No. I didn't think you weren't gonna get it, but I'm very curious to hear.
Yeah, so my skepticism has proven true for the most part. I'm about 12 hours into the game.
Oh wow! Okay.
So I'm still early on. There's a lot of things I don't like about the game, but I love the world, so that's what keeps me going. I'm sure Laughing Man's gonna have a lot of things to say because he's been playing it too. I've seen it. But things that I like. So I like the. It's a very beautiful game. It's a very beautiful world. I think they did the art design is, the world design is really nice in terms of the locations.
If
Now,
you watch the Arcane show, the art design pretty much resembles like the Arcane animation.
Okay. Yeah, I heard there was a bit of like, it's almost like Pixarification.
So that's character design. I'm not talking about character design. I actually hate the character design in Veilguard. I think they're very cartoony, and they don't fit the Dragon Age lore.
High fantasy feel.
Like dark, it's dark fantasy,
Yeah,
right? Like that's
dark fantasy.
Like it's supposed. Dragon Age is never like a feel good game. It was a game that touched a lot of really heavy topics, and it was very like dark and gritty. All of the games had been. Dragon Age Inquisition was the lightest, but it still touched on a lot of those things, and I don't find that in Veilguard. It's a very. It feels like to me that I'm playing like I'm playing a wannabe Marvel game, like a B, like from like a B studio, like that's trying to be like a funny like Guardians of the Galaxy game. That's what it's trying to be, but that's not Dragon Age. If this game was in Dragon Age, I think I'd have a lot more fun with it. But because it has a Dragon Age name, I have to tie it to the Dragon Age lore, lore and fantasy and the world. And I just the grittiness isn't there for me. I think that's a big thing. The combat, okay, it's not super deep. I actually don't like the level design. There's not a lot of explorability, at least for me in this point of the game. I know the maps a little bit open up, but they're all they give Dragon Age 2 vibes, where it's kind of like long corridors with like little paths
bit
here
more
and there.
linear.
Yeah, it's super linear. Anyways, that's it's kind of my TLDR on Dragon Age Veilguard. I'm still gonna play through it. Both my wife and I have been playing it, so it's been what we've been doing. Yeah.
Cool. Nice. Well, it's a perfect time perfect way to segue into what you've been playing, Laughing Man, because I know since you've been playing it as well, I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
I unequivocally 100% disagree with Abdul on everything. Pretty much. Of
course he does.
I've also
he's like, this is the best game of the year, guys.
I actually I wouldn't.
Second to Kingdom Hearts 3.
If the indie cyberpunk game Minds Beneath Us didn't come out this year, I would consider Veilguard one of my personal game of the years.
How many hours are you in?
I'm not that far in because I started a couple days ago because I started replaying the entire Dragon Age series right in preparation. I started on September 20th, and I finished Origins 2 Inquisition, including all DLCs, because Mama didn't raise any filthy casual. um, and yeah, just in time. I think I started a day or two late after release day. So I've been playing that. I finished all of the Dragon Age series. Started Veilguard. I've been playing Balatro recently. Got it. I won my first run using the blue deck. I think that's the one that it gives you an extra hand. It gives you plus one extra hand. I used a strategy. I got a Joker that basically said, um, clubs and spades are this considered the same. Diamonds and hearts are considered the same. And then I
Dude, that
upgraded my
card is
flush.
OP.
Yeah, I upgraded my flush, and each round I just get a flush, a flush, a flush. So I've been playing that, and yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to. I've been thinking of
Wait, hold
as
on.
a
You just skipped over Veilguard. I want to hear your detailed analysis.
coming
well,
back
I'm
that.
getting to that. I'm
He's
first
working his
listing
way.
everything I'm playing, and then I'll
He's going
get into
timeline
Veilguard.
order.
Yeah. Thank you,
I got
Nael.
you. I got you.
So yeah, I've been playing that, and now my thoughts on Veilguard so far. I'm not that far in. I'm a little bit behind Abdul because I only recently started, but I did have some concerns about the art style. But once I started playing it, I it grew on me. So before Veilguard, my favorite character creators of all were Cyberpunk 2077, Elden Ring, and Baldur's Gate 3. These three games had in my opinion, the best character creators. Now I put Veilguard up there as well. It has a really extensive
It does.
character creator.
It does, for sure.
I made an Elven character, and for the Elven preset, they have like a
But
Daisy
dude,
preset.
they like
They have
massacred the Kunari. Like,
okay, Kunari.
how
They've
can you?
kind of already. When I replayed Inquisition, I'm like, they kind of look. Kunari kind of have the same thing here. It's only in Dragon Age 2 where all Kunari had that like gruff looking vibe, which I would have liked, but yeah, Kunari are just human looking things with horns. It's kind of, they started that in Inquisition.
Yeah,
It
and Inquisition was still fine, but this is
but
just.
I mean,
Veilguard is just atrocious.
it's gonna be a matter of personal taste. So yeah, I can see why some people don't like the art direction, but I personally, it's grown on me. And for so the only reviews I trusted when it comes to Veilguard is I followed several Dragon Age content creators. So these people, they're small time Dragon Age content creators. They know all about the lore for like years and stuff. So they got, because they're content creators in the community, they got like early access to the game and to make a review. And one of them that I trust, she said she overall enjoyed it, and she said Act 3 might be the best BioWare Act 3 ever. Like, she said it's the best of Mass Effect 2 and like Mass
Yeah, I know you're
Effect
talking
3.
about. I read the same review.
Yeah, Cal Elizabeth. Yeah, she's the
Mhm.
reviewer. So I trust her and like other Dragon Age content creators who've spoken up. They still, and it's not like they said, "Oh yeah, the game is completely perfect." They still had things to critique. In fact, one of my critiques so far is I can uh in previous Dragon Age games, in the dialogue, you had the option of being like an a-hole, like you could be a little rude and stuff. In this one,
Yes.
not so much. Even when
Nothing.
you
No, what do you
choose
mean so much? There's zero.
I mean, you can be aggressive, but it's not
Yeah,
as
but
aggressive
you're
compared
either
to
like, you know, kind good or like little bit stern good.
and that I'm not completely surprised because the devs said they wanted Rook. That's the title of the character you play as. They wanted Rook to be like a little bit more of a hero. So that doesn't bother me too much. But again, I can see why people like Abdul have issues with it because in previous Dragon Age games, they had a lot more variety of options. And the combat, I enjoy the combat. Each Dragon Age game, the combat has evolved. Dragon Age Origins was a CRPG. Dragon Age 2 was like a mixed hybrid CRPG action. Dragon Age Inquisition was full action. This one is full God of War style combat where you have combos and stuff. I kind of enjoy it. Now the corridors. I know Abdul mentioned he doesn't like the linearity and the corridors. I actually love that because having just played Inquisition, it is open world and so much bloat because Inquisition was made in a time when Skyrim was the gold standard of games. So much like listen, I'm the Inquisitor. I run an Inquisition. Yes, I'm gonna close Fade Rifts. I'm gonna capture keeps. I'm gonna slay dragons. But that widower who lost her engagement ring, why do I have to find it? Why can't I delegate that task to a scout? Um, and one of BioWare's like best games that everyone agrees is great is Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 was linear. You had a home base, you have a series of mission, you bring companions. And I Dragon Age 2, as much flack as it gets, it's actually one of my favorite like
Okay,
Dragon Age games.
Counterpoint.
Sure.
Finish your thought, but I have a counterpoint.
So Dragon Age 2, the set design is copy pasted because it had rush development, but I like the smaller scale story in like a tighter linear corridor. Not everything needs to be glorious open world exploration. In fact, I think most games don't do open. My hot take is most games don't do open world well. The only ones that nail it are Rockstar because they've been doing it for years, and Bethesda to some degree. So I actually like this more tighter, more linear quest design and set design.
So my take wasn't like I wanted an open world game. I don't think the level design fits into the world of Dragon Age. Like, what are we doing with these like random zip lines and like the way to traversing a level is not enjoyable, in my opinion. It's like it's needlessly like these puzzles. The puzzles in the game are like absolutely atrocious. They're like made for babies, but like they're annoying to be there, and it's just like there to break up the monotony of the combat. But like it's not a well designed level. I have Mass Effect levels were amazing. They felt like they belonged in the game. I
Even though
don't
you were
feel
on,
like
even though you were on a rail,
you're on a rail, you're on a linear path, but like you looked at the level and you when you entered a planet, like it felt like okay, this is part of the world. When you enter a world in Dragon and a level in Dragon Age, it's kind of like this puzzle box like piece that doesn't really fit, in my opinion, in the game, and it just feels off trying to explore it.
I think that's just gonna be subject to personal taste, and I think most of the people upset. So here's what's interesting: I have a lot of friends. This is their first Dragon Age game ever. Um, they are enjoying it. In fact, one friend I have, she's a huge Baldur's Gate fan, so hardcore. She finished Honor Mode on Baldur's Gate 3. If you don't know what Honor Mode is like the hardest difficulty, and you only have one save file. Um, so and if you win it, you get a trophy and you get golden dice. So she's a huge hardcore Baldur's Gate fan. She says Veilguard might be her like new favorite fantasy game. The way she described it was, it's like I'm playing Baldur's Gate. I can make decisions, but I have God of War style combat and the the beauty of the game, the set design. She actually enjoyed it. I think a lot of Dragon Age veterans. Um, do I think the level design is perfect? No, I agree with some of your criticisms, but I guess it doesn't bother me too much because I've understood that the reason I'm a little forgiving is because the same people who made Origins and 2, they're not there anymore. A different team made Inquisition, and most of those people have left. Um, and mind you, this game had very troubled development. So Origins was released in 2009. 2 was released 2 years later in 2011. Dragon Age Inquisition came out 3 years later in 2014. So there's always been like a 3-4 year gap between the games. Veilguard has a 10-year gap, and if you look at the history, it was probably supposed to be originally released in 2018, and the idea was you'd continue the Inquisitor storyline into Winter, and you'd have like little missions and stuff, and there would be some dumb multiplayer games as a live service element, but they scrapped all of that, so it had a troubled development. And so based off that, I thought we would never get another Dragon Age game, period. I was like, well, it's stuck in development hell. So we got it. And given that troubled development cycle, I'll tell you, since I've praised it so far, I'll tell you the main thing I'm upset with, because I've been the foil to you. I've been the heel, or no, you're the. I guess am I the face because I'm praising and you're the heel, whatever. My main criticism, but I think I'll get over it eventually. The only three previous choices that matter are who was your inquisitor, who did they romance, did they disband the Inquisition, and were they nice or were they mean to Solus? I would have wished the two big decisions that I wished would have carried over, because each Dragon Age game, the choices the
No,
player makes.
the decision of Templars versus Mages is a pretty big decision.
No, but that doesn't carry over to Veilguard. That doesn't carry over to Veil.
I guess what you're saying. Yeah. No, I'm just saying in terms of like key decisions that the game had.
I'm talking about Veilguard. Every Dragon Age game carried previous decisions. Veilguard only carries 3 decisions only in Inquisition. And of them, they don't address the Well of Sorrows. Who drank from the Well of Sorrows with Mithiel's thing?
There's so many things.
And who did you leave in the Fade? Was it Hawk or was it Alistair Logain Stroud?
Yeah.
Like those two hurt me the most. But the devs did say they didn't want to address it in this game. It's going to come up in a future game. So they have said this, and they've moved. It's not going to get any DLC. They've moved development full time to the next Mass Effect, and it sold well. It got decent reviews. So I think they'll now that, and it's in a new engine. It's an Unreal 5. So I think we might go back to the 5, maybe not 3, 4, but like 5. Maybe in the next 5 years we'll get like the 5th Dragon Age game. But yeah, I'm a little forgiving. I don't mind too much, because ultimately I care about, like, when I play these types of games, biggest thing I care about is lore and story. And the story, the characters, they've gripped me so far. So yeah, I've been enjoying it.
One last thing, and then we'll move on from this. I know we're talking about this a lot. As you can see, we're very passionate. So I 100% agree with you. I think this Dragon Age game is the easiest for new players to get into it.
Yeah,
absolutely agree. It's a great way to introduce people to the world of Dragon Age, if you want to get into it. And if you like action, like light RPG games with like God of War style combat, you're going to have a lot of fun for sure. So I know we're never going to get a Dragon Age Origins again, or like, anything to close to that level, because those people are not there. What I just was hoping for was respect for the source material, right? In terms of the world. And I don't feel like I'm getting that in Veilguard. It's like I'm watching the Halo TV series, and it's not respecting the Halo franchise at all, right? That's kind of the vibe I got from Dragon Age Veilguard so far. I know Act 3 is supposed to be amazing, and there's a lot of things that people have said is really great. So I will reserve final judgment for that. Yeah, that's about it. All right, let's move on.
Cool. And that concludes, I guess, all the games that we have been playing. Let's jump into some of the more passionate stuff that we like to discuss, which is some of the gaming news. Let me actually ask, who wants to go first on this one? Because I know we have our Google Doc, and there's a few different things.
Yeah, I can continue on if you want.
Sure.
The one thing that I want to talk about was the greatest Sony blunder in recent history. I'd say, I don't know if it's like forever, but recent history. Sony shut down Firewalk Studios, the makers of Concord. That's
kind of saw it coming.
Yeah, so
I feel bad for the devs.
This is the shortest lifespan of a live service game to have ever existed.
Mm-hmm. Wait, you're forgetting what was it, the day before?
But that's not a live service game.
I thought it was. I thought it was a live service game.
But is it a AAA game? Like,
well, yeah, not
a AAA live service game.
It is technically a AAA game. Yes, it had a AAA budget.
Like, the development costs estimated around like $200 million, and that's not including the license and IP that Sony bought.
I thought it was like 40 million or something.
There's 250 million including marketing.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, and this is not including them buying the studio. Sony bought this studio solely based on what they saw in Concord, and they just destroyed it. Like, it's insane to me that this was such a huge lie. And
when did they purchase the studio? Do you have a
when did they purchase this? Let's say they formed in 2018. when Sony purchased them.
Okay, so
when?
they formed 2018, and then they sold last year, 2023, April 2023.
Yeah, so that's huge. Like Sony's all in on live service has like crippled them to like a massive degree. And honestly, I feel like Sony's just successfully failing. The only reason they're doing well right now, console wise, is because the Xbox is just trash in comparison. But if the Xbox was marginally even like a competitor, like
Oh yeah, they'd be having a tough time.
Sony would be
Are
the only thing
they-
Sony's releasing are like, like the new Spider-Man, or like just like 2s and 3s and 4s of things that they've already developed. There's
but
no
those
new
sell
IPs.
well.
Those sell
those
well.
are selling
Yes.
decently, and they're getting reviewed well and stuff. Their
But
single player department is like doing pretty well and decent. Yeah, the live service ventures have failed, but I don't think that necessarily makes Sony like a whole blunder.
I don't know. I don't see an upwards trend in Sony's development, at least in the near future.
They are doing. Yeah, I feel like you see them better on the console side just because of Xbox. But as far as development, Microsoft Studios is putting out.
I mean,
a lot better
when,
numbers than Sony.
Are you sure about that? Because of the first party single player games like God of War, what's it called?
Spider-Man.
God of War Ragnarok, Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2,
Horizon.
What else am I missing? Last of Us.
Yeah, those are all big hits, like household names and stuff. Even normies know about them.
Yeah, and they're all PlayStation exclusives.
That's only going to carry so far, right? Like what I'm getting is like I don't see a new IP coming out from Sony that's single player, right? They've been super focused on the live service thing, and it's been, aside from Helldivers, it is not done successfully.
How many new IPs come out per like PlayStation?
Yeah, new IPs generally when a new IP comes out, the developer will make sequels for like a decade or so, right? Like, how often do we need?
Yeah, my question.
Sony already has a ton of IPs under their belt. If anything, they're not utilizing their existing IPs enough.
I disagree. I mean, growing up, like how many 3s and 4s and 5s of things that we
did
see?
Bro.
No, I think he's talking about beyond that point. Like Crash is no longer, it doesn't belong to Sony.
Crash Bandicoot got like 3. It was 4.
I don't know, bro.
It was up to Crash Bash.
Ratchet and Clank got. I mean, but
Ratchet and Clank got rebooted. They restarted the numbering sequence.
But those are, you can count them on one hand. Is what I'm saying. Like what?
Yeah.
But it's kind of like
you say the same thing about Microsoft
Laughing Man
as well.
is saying it's underutilized on the one hand.
Yeah, those are the popular IPs.
My question is,
they're giving.
My question is like, how many new IPs come out with each PlayStation generation? Typically, like, are they ahead of the curve, behind the curve, average?
I want to say Concord is probably the first new IP from the PS5 generation. Yeah. I know last gen we had
how many new IPs were in the PS4 generation?
And if you think about it, like the games that are getting 2s and 3s, these are single player story based games. So players want to know, like, what happens next? It ended on a cliffhanger. So naturally, those sequels sell well. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't.
And that's why
I think they have enough
because
IPs.
other people can catch up.
Yeah, I think they have enough IPs. They're just, if you look at the list of properties and licenses that Sony has, if anything, they're not utilizing those existing ones.
I feel you though, wanting new games, new stories, new worlds. Like, I totally get that.
I don't know if I feel like we're getting more creative and new games off of indies and
100%.
Triple A's. Like the AAAs now are just they're super safe and they're just going off.
I mean, it's like
video games. Video games
the
have
Hollywood route,
and video games also have multi-million-dollar development budgets.
Yeah,
they need to see a return, right? I'm not saying I necessarily agree with that, but this is the reality. So if they don't see a return, they don't want. What's the safest way to make a return? Bank on an existing IP. Like, so I'm looking at a list of, don't forget Ghost of Tsushima. Like that's a relatively new IP.
That was a new one for PS4, right?
PS4,
which is still relatively new.
Yeah,
but I'm
and
looking at a
Astrobot
list
as well.
of There you go. Yeah. I'm looking at a list of Sony franchises and stuff that they own. Twisted Metal, yo, twos and threes. Give me a new Twisted Metal. Let's see.
No, they're too
Supposed
busy
to be a
making that
show out
Peacock
for
show.
that.
Is it out already,
show.
or
No, it's not out. I think
Okay.
they're still in
Hill-
development.
Killzone.
Oh,
That-
Killzone, bro.
They could have
That's-
utilized that.
Yeah.
That's a
Killzone
that would work
was
as a
Yeah,
live
big.
service.
Guerrilla was
Don't bring
told,
back
like-
painful memories, man.
Why
yeah,
did you get destroyed or something?
No, it was so
Killzone.
great. The story was great. The game was great, and they just
disappeared.
yeah.
Now-
They made a Horizon, the same studio, Guerrilla Games, and I think it's just done a lot better, I guess, for Sony, and they decided, okay, you just keep making that.
Yeah,
No more
forget
Killzone.
Killzone.
Yeah, same thing for Days Gone as well, which looked. I mean, it's a game about a biker. I love motorcycles and that, and yeah, they said they're not doing a
That's
sequel
what
for that game.
I feel like in
Lethal
PS4
Company.
era, they still had more. They had more games out
Hmm.
that were like newer IPs. I don't and like PS5 era, they just released
Days
the
Gone.
Pro.
Hmm.
Days Gone is PS5.
PS4.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
listing Sony franchise. Gran Turismo.
Yeah,
I think
so that's
they.
so I'm not combining PS4 and PS5 era. PS4
Okay.
is its own era, PS5 is its own era because it's
Yeah.
two different consoles,
Hmm.
right? You
Yeah,
can't.
What-
they had
what
some
new
backwards
IPs?
compatibility because they needed to because there wasn't enough PS5s
PS4s.
and
There's
PS5s
enough
people.
PS5s.
Both.
Yeah, there wasn't enough
yeah.
PS5, so that people had PS4, so they're like, all right, we need people to play these games, so we're gonna do. But PS5 is its own era.
Mm-hmm.
Returnal.
And Returnal's
That's a new
Sony?
IP.
Yeah, Returnal is
It
a
was
new
a
IP.
Sony exclusive.
PS5.
It was a
yeah.
Sony exclusive.
Sony exclusive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then it came
That's
to
one.
PC.
Well, I think we're at
Well,
three.
Concord,
Concord.
too.
Two or three.
But
Concord 2.
Concord, but I
I,
can't-
Ghost of
I guess we
Tsushima.
can
we
take
can't count that
Helldivers
anymore.
as 3.
no, Helldivers came
Helldivers
out
was an
of
existing
PS4
IP.
era or PS3 era.
Yeah,
I
it was
remember
an-
there
it was
being
an
Helldivers
existing-
1 on the PS Vita.
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
and it's not a new IP.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look, there's
It's 2.
like
2 so far.
2.
And you can barely count Concord because it's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it lasted 2 weeks. So it's just super disappointing to me.
Fair.
Well, like I think Laughing Man made an excellent point that it's safer to bank on sequels and existing IP.
Yeah, 100%.
yeah.
They're just
Yeah,
after
yeah.
profits. They're a corporation at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I actually there's actually an article that addresses your exact point, Abdul. It says the title it's from Games Radar. It said PlayStation wants half of its releases to be new PS5 IPs by 2025, and around.
Hang in there, Abdul.
That's next year, yeah.
Now granted, this article was
What was
published.
this article?
This article was published last year, but it said, yeah, I mean the market's changed, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. So there's room for things like Horizon 3, Last of Us Part 3, but those aren't new IPs.
Yeah, those
but-
are new IPs.
But again, the landscape looked. Also remember that all the layoffs in
Yeah,
the
and
tech and gaming sphere, so you're
Yeah.
probably
Yeah,
not going to see
and how
new
many
IPs.
studios got shut down?
Yep.
Mhm. There were 3 or 4 under Sony alone for like PlayStation studios.
Yeah. Yep.
I think so.
yeah, and we're already at the Pro era for the PS5. Like it's like almost.
We're
It seems like it's
we're
nearing.
halfway through the
Yeah,
generation.
it's nearing the end of a generation. And we got like
Basically.
what 2 IPs out of it. Like it's hella disappointing.
Yeah.
Alright.
I mean, thinking of the PS5 games that have come out so far, even if they're existing IPs, I'm trying to think. I guess yeah, Returnal. I played a bit of it; was pretty good. Horizon Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok. Am I missing? I'm sure I'm missing a few other.
Oh,
first
sorry.
party. Gran Turismo
Real quick,
7.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Faraj.
Go ahead.
So Sony won't release. This is an article from 9 months ago, so this
Okay.
year. Sony won't release any new major IPs before March 31st, 2025.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
All right. So for the first episode we're recording in April, I'm sure Abdul, inshallah, will have some good news.
yeah, he'll be playing.
April Fools.
April Fools. They'd be like, gotcha, suckers.
Yeah. Yeah, knowing how corporations, I mean, seeing how corporations have kind of operated, I'm sure it's going to be way past April before we even hear anything else. But let's go ahead and move on to the next story. Nael, why don't you talk about it? Because I have a few different bullets loaded up for that topic because it's been pretty popular for different podcasts to hate on This particular gaming company.
Yep. So Ubisoft is in the news again because they're doing Ubisoft things, like tying NFTs to their
Nice.
games. For
And it's not their first time, by the way.
it's not their first time. The first time.
Wait, this is recently? Aren't NFTs dead? Like
That-
for the
Exactly.
most part?
Yes.
This is recent. They just released a new game.
So they had a venture. What was it? 3 years ago at this point? 2 years ago?
It was about 3 years ago, I want to say, in Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Ghost Recon, right?
3 years ago in Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
3 years.
Is this the Ubisoft Quartz thing?
Champions? So this is the game is Champions Tactics.
Okay.
And basically, it's pay to win, right? It's pay to win.
I mean, it's an NFT game. Yeah, you're buying.
So the concept pay to win game, you buy champion, this and that, right? But it's encouraged that you use some, I don't know, what's
Cryptocurrency.
What's the currency? Oasis?
Ethereum.
It's Oasis.
Yeah,
I
most
think
people
Oasis
use
on top of Ethereum.
Oasis.
most crypto.
Oasis blockchain.
Yeah, so they want you to use
which
Oasis.
is built off, I think, Ethereum. I think.
You can use dollars, but I mean, they want you to use Oasis to buy and sell characters. There's characters that are running for 63 grand.
$63,000.
$63,000.
It's on sale.
Yep.
Did you get it?
And I guess the more you sell, the more the more you buy, the more like VIP status you earn in the game.
Basically, which incentivizes you to spend more
just
money.
pay to win. Yeah. It's just a big old loot box.
You know what this makes me think of?
And
I'm surprised they haven't implemented this.
And I think
why hasn't Star Citizen implemented NFTs?
Don't give them
already
any
get
more
tons of
ideas.
money.
Come
No
on,
ideas,
stop.
bro.
Please no. They're
ideas.
already dead.
It's
We
already
need to beat
called
them
Star
more.
Casino.
Please.
They get
Yeah.
so much money. Have you seen their new fundraising
my God, the
goals
new
that
They're doing new stuff, trying to raise more
Yeah.
money.
Yep.
Star
They're trying to get the
Citizen-
next generation
So-
of gamers. Listen, Abdul and I fell for it so hard, bro. They're trying to get the next
Oh,
generation.
that's why you guys are so sad. You guys fell for the
Listen,
oh,
listen.
You poor
we
baby.
sunk some good money into it. We were like,
I backed
we're so excited.
the original Kickstarter, which is
Uh-huh.
$45, and I have not put in anything else.
Same.
In that game.
Okay.
Listen, but it was $45 as a college student. That was
That's
that
a lot
was
of money.
real money.
That was a lot of money.
Which is
And
like $1,000 bucks.
I think I put in like $50 or $60 because I was like, oh, I want the upgraded ship.
upgraded-
You want that
So I was
upgraded
like,
ship?
I'm gonna get that ship.
So
Yeah.
I didn't. I'll end this quickly because I don't want to cut off Nael from his topic. But one player put Star Citizen in his will so his grandchildren could play it. So Abdul, Nael, just put
Yo,
it
my
in
kids
your
might play it. Yeah.
put it in your will.
One day,
yeah, just
one
memorize
day,
it.
someone will play
But
it.
Have you
by the
guys seen
time we
that-
have actual space travel, though,
So I've been keeping up with the Star Citizen whole like debacle. There's a lot to talk about there.
yeah,
I think we need
let's
a,
back
I think
to
that's its own
special
episode.
on that one.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you know what? We should, yeah, because I've done a lot of research on it. So yeah, but Nael, back to Ubisoft.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a loot box game, and I think most of the gaming world has seen past that, so because it didn't really land well with players. Like, I don't think it's really selling or gaining players.
So I'm
Did X Defiant, that Ubisoft game, do people still play that?
I hear there's some movement with that game. It's not as big
Okay.
as Call of Duty because it's trying to be Call of Duty, and people are like, "Oh, this game is just trying to be Call of Duty." But I'm borrowing a phrase from a different podcast, the Wolf Den podcast, when I say that it seems like Ubisoft is run by actual idiots, like straight up, like people that just don't know. They have their heads so buried so far.
So
in the
there's
sand.
There's
I feel
a
like the
theory.
people greenlighting these new projects are definitely idiots.
So there's a theory that that the owners are actually tanking the stock intentionally by doing a lot of stupid moves because they want to sell the company and make it go private.
They want to repurchase the company.
They want to repurchase the company,
I-
and they want it to be at the lowest price. And the easy way to do that, you tank the
Just
stock.
tank the stock.
Yeah, and take the company private, and then do something there with it. But
Which is-
that's That's the theory. I mean, kind of lines up with the really stupid moves that Ubisoft's been making, but yeah.
Yeah, there was a closing down the studio that made Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown because it didn't apparently meet internal sales expectations. This NFT game, continuously pushing the
And
Sands
there's a
of Time
strike.
remake. Yeah, there's a strike as
Ubisoft
well.
strike,
So many
yeah.
allegations of misconduct internally within the company. Yves Guillemot, the CEO of Ubisoft, coming out and saying, "Oh, our gamers are demanding games that actually work," and we're like, "Yeah, no kidding." You think?
God, I hate that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I still have a soft spot in my heart for old Ubisoft games.
How big is Ubisoft? 21,000 employees.
Mm.
And they're
And-
mostly located in
France?
Montreal, Quebec.
And believe it or
Montreal,
not, Laughing Man, I don't know how because I've been trying to look up to answer your question of like how many people are actually
Mhm.
playing X Defiant. It's telling me like over the last 30 days is 1.5 million active players, which doesn't sound right. I don't know if it's people that just have the game downloaded and haven't forgot to uninstall it.
Where did you grab that number
It's
from?
just I just tried to Google X Defiant
Mm.
current player count and just the first couple of articles I saw. But yeah, I mean, I don't know anyone talking about that game, and I know people that play Call of Duty quite a bit.
They were talking about it like a couple months ago, but I only knew one friend
when
playing
they were
it.
kind of on the marketing cycle, there was a little
Yeah,
bit of
right,
buzz,
right.
but kind of disappeared.
Yeah,
after that.
everyone's playing the new COD, or if it's an FPS, they're it's like the little ones are playing Valorant.
Is it a good game? Is it just a case of bad timing with COD?
I didn't like it, but then again, it could have just been me, as Abdul can attest to my lack of skills in Call of Duty type games.
He's
Wow.
trash.
Enough said.
Yeah, but yeah, it's sad to see a company like this going down this road. But maybe or hopefully, if your rumor pans out to be true and they go private, they could have a lot more control over what they're doing without needing to worry about.
No, I don't think it's gonna go that way. I think they're just gonna
No?
turn into a mobile game cash cow after that.
Well, there you go. Well, let me just bring in one small quick news item to help us uplift our spirits. It was just announced that the Nintendo Switch's successor, which is set to be announced by the end of fiscal year 2024, which would be March 31st, 2025, that the Switch's successor is going to be backwards compatible with all Switch games, which
That is very good news.
yeah, especially after all the money we've put into our Switch libraries.
We have.
I have.
Oh.
Oh, you got. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
You got.
I have.
Someone.
My bad. My Switch is a glorified Pokemon and Fire Emblem machine.
Fair enough.
Yeah, before I got my Steam Deck, that's where I was getting all my indie games on, because I wanted to be able to play it on
Yeah.
the go.
So
I-
backwards compatible physical and software.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
That's sick.
It's funny how they announce it though. A possible Nintendo Switch success. Like they don't even say straight up successor.
They're
the
not
Nintendo Switch.
even confirming that there is
Yeah,
a successor. It's a
yeah,
possible
they say
successor.
possible Nintendo Switch successor would have. I'm like, okay, Nintendo.
It's like you're
No,
releasing
it's-
your own rumors here. Like
No, the
we know what's
actual-
going on.
so the actual tweet translated from Japanese says, "This is for Furukawa at today's corporate management policy briefing." This was literally yesterday, by the way. We announced that
Yeah.
Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to Nintendo Switch.
Oh,
And-
so they didn't use pos. Okay,
Yeah,
I
they literally-
take
No,
Yeah,
that,
and this
that
is
was
from-
that was the old tweet. Remember?
I'm thinking
When
of
there
the
was
old. Okay,
the
yeah,
rumor,
I'm thinking
the
of the old
rumor
one,
tweet.
yeah.
Also, Nintendo Switch Online will be available on the successor to Nintendo Switch as well. Further information will be announced at a later date.
Okay, cool. They're not now. Nintendo, please give those 3DS online games that were purchased and on the Wii U. Can we play those as
That's
well?
Keep waiting.
Oh no.
Keep
I don't
waiting.
think that's gonna
No,
happen.
that's
brother.
not happening.
Keep
bro.
waiting. bro.
Especially because Wii U, I think architecture-wise, there was some troubling there.
They just
Mhm.
like okay. You know all those on Nintendo Switch Online, all those games you can play if you sub to Nintendo Switch Online Plus.
Mhm.
They're all emulated on the Switch.
Yeah.
And if you allegedly fiddle with your Switch, allegedly, yeah, it's able to run Wii U stuff. And then with the Switch successor, its tech is rumored to be like in between a PS4 and PS4 Pro, like somewhere there. Or no, sorry, somewhere between a PS4 and the PS5. It's somewhere like between there.
Mm-hmm.
It should be able to like it.
Should be able to emulate
Even
Wii U.
Xbox and Sony, they're focusing on backwards compatibility and like whatever old PSN stuff you bought, you're able to play because you have one Nintendo account. Oh, you bought it on this machine. Sorry, you can't use it again. Oh, and we don't make that machine anymore. Like it's stupid. Make all 3DS everything compatible. But yeah.
Buy physical media.
Yep.
Well, you can.
Yeah, I mean the PS5 Pro doesn't have a disc drive.
You have to buy it separately.
You could buy it
no,
separately,
it does. You just have to buy it separately.
You have to buy exactly. That's insane.
Yeah,
it's very telling.
It does come with the controller, though. I know we said that.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Check it out.
It doesn't. It doesn't come with the controller.
PS5 Pro.
Or last I checked, unless
there's a different.
No, I thought Faraj double checked that and then.
Yeah.
Oh, it does. Let me see.
It features a 2 terabyte solid state from Sony's actual press release.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. It features a 2 terabyte solid state drive and includes a DualSense wireless controller.
Okay.
I think it was the special edition one that was extra or something.
The special edition one came with the controller.
That was like $1,000.
Or I think what may have happened because I distinctly remember
there was some wires that were crossed in like our understation of how it was being released. But
no, I think a lot of the rumors were like,
backlash.
we're hoping that they release it with the DualSense Edge, which is like their pro version of the controller.
Gotcha.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah,
Okay,
but it's
so
not
it comes with the basic.
Okay,
that's
DualSense,
good.
which is still a pretty good controller. Yeah, it's a battery hungry.
I think someone said it doesn't come with a stand or the disc
it doesn't
drive.
come with a stand or a disc drive.
So if you buy a PS5, now it comes to controllers.
Why doesn't it come with a stand? It's like plastic.
Because they want people to spend that extra money. And what happened was shortly after the announcement of the
bro.
Exactly.
Hey,
operations,
listen,
man.
That plastic.
It's the iMac wheels.
The monitor stand, bro.
The monitor stand.
Yeah.
It's $1,000 monitor stand.
Back when I thought the controller wasn't included, someone did the math. If you buy a PS5 Pro, optical disc drive, stand, and the controller, it comes like 890 something, or something like that.
Tax.
That was us. We did the math a couple episodes ago.
And then after taxes, it's going to be a bit more, and it's almost the cost like of a low-level PC.
Yeah.
But now with the controller, it's...
That comes down.
It's a good mid-range PC right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, low to mid-range PC.
I guess the hardware you're getting. But the hardware is supposed to be subsidized because it's the loss leader.
Exactly.
But as like we discussed in that episode as well, a lot of people, sure, they could get a PC for that price and Steam sales and all that, but a lot of people, they don't like fiddling with hardware.
Yeah. No,
they
absolutely.
despise it. In fact, what this wasn't surprising to me, a lot of programmers and a lot of IT people prefer playing on console because they're like, I already fiddle with hardware every day at work. Why do I want to come home and they said even something as simple as downloading NVIDIA drivers stresses them out and gives them work PTSD.
Yeah, because you're trying to come and play a game and all of a sudden it's
I
like
absolutely understand.
Yeah, I get that for sure.
If that's what you do for work, you don't want to take your work home.
Yeah, especially with mouse and keyboard too. I actually had a friend of mine specifically say just with the repetitive stress injury of having to use mouse and keyboard at work, coming home, he just wants to hold a comfortable ergonomic controller.
That makes sense.
There you go.
All right. With that being said, I think it's a good place to wrap up this episode. I think we had a pretty good episode here, right, guys?
Yeah. Exactly at the 1 hour mark. Look at us.
Excellent.
Look at us being on time.
Yeah. And you know what, listeners, viewers, if you made it this far, thank you so much for sticking with us. A reminder, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to us on YouTube or whatever podcast platform of choice that you're listening to us on. If you can leave us a comment or a review, we'd really appreciate that. Let us know your feedback of how we're doing. We'd love to hear from you. And now I think we're starting to stick to our schedule of trying to record and release new podcast episodes every 2 weeks. So
we're going to be next one will be a bit. We'll dive into the topic a little bit.
Definitely, yeah. And who knows? Maybe if we can keep this going, we may or may not be able to do some live episodes in the future. Who knows? Hinting towards that. Anyways, with that being said, thank you for sticking with us this long. Assalamu Alaikum.
Alaikum salam.